Welcome, 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 y'all. It is Heavy Talk. I'm the one and only Dwayne, Big Daddy, Heavy Thompson, and we are here. It's the first show, man. We're welcoming you to Heavy Talk, the podcast, where we're going to talk about plenty of heavy stuff. That's right, y'all. When you come in this place, get ready to sit down and have some discussions about everything. I'm talking about everything from music to education to life skills to evaluation assessments and more. We want to welcome you. I want to thank you, those who are going to be listening, those who are going to be sharing, subscribing, and being in a part of this Heavy Talk podcast family. Shouts out, though. Shouts out to Joe Lockett Media and all those who are locked in. And right now, it's going down in this place. Welcome, y'all. So I'll introduce myself, but also in the building is the one and only nephew's here with me, man. Y'all got to give it. What's going on, nephew?
What's up, man? I ain't know it was going to be matching in the greens.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. And, we just talked to the basketball, and it's the green that we don't like, huh?
Yeah,
we're going to have to change our colors. It's the green we don't like. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, I'm feeling good, man. You know what they call, I guess, episode 1. Mm-hmm. It's the kickoff to the Heavy Talk, the debut to the Heavy Talk podcast, man. And I'm just really, really anxious to get into some of these topics and things that we have to talk about, man. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on in this world, in this whole media system, and just, wanting to be a place where people can get some information. Okay. Some things that they may not get all the time, perspectives that they may not have all the time. But we want people to know also that they can go on our page, Heavy Talk Podcast on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Or they can Heavy Talk Podcast 1 at gmail.com. Send us things that they may want to talk about or may want us to discuss. So if you're out there and you got something, you don't want to show your face and you want us to talk about it, we here for it. You know what I'm saying?
Get anonymous.
That's right. You can send them anonymous, letters, and we can talk about them. Also, man, you're going to be getting interviews from me with some people that you know and that you don't know. For those who don't know, man, I've been around and in the music business for over 30 years. So I got some friends who've already agreed to come on in and sit down with me, do some talking, stuff like that. I've worked in some places that people don't know that I've worked in. So I got some people in politics who've already said they're going to sit down. And then I've been in these streets, over 40 years. So I got some street folks going to come in. Never tell you, I think this is going to be a really, really good look, man, in the podcast world. That's right. And we're going to be, we're also going to be streaming on our StreamYard. We're going to be live on our YouTube. So you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to subscribe to our YouTube, What You Cooking Big Daddy. But you're going to find this podcast and much more on my YouTube. So I'm excited about that. And also, man, the lineup of people that we're going to have coming in within the next year is phenomenal. Like we've already got people signed up for the next few months. Catch us on Tuesdays, right? It's going to be Tuesdays, every Tuesday. If you got time to sit down and watch us live, we'll be Tuesdays at about 6 o'clock. If the time change, we'll let you know. Also, you can come in, if you're in the Bessemer area, you come into Lil Mama's at 1200 Hall Avenue and catch us in that kitchen every Friday. We got the best fish in town. That's right. The best fish in town, Fish Fry Friday, held by none other than myself, at Lil Mama's in Bessemer, Alabama. So come on through, man, and I'm telling you, you will enjoy. Also, shameful plug, if you want your food to have some love, show your food some love, Big Daddy Shake and Rub. That's right. Go get that www.bigdaddybomb.com. The best shake and rub in the country, along with the best barbecue flavored cooking sauce, all created by me. Mwah! That's right. Big Daddy, the chef, Dwayne Thompson, also known as the Meat Doctor. Many personalities, plenty of stuff going on. But we're going to get into the show today, man. Let's talk about this first thing, man. We got this heavy situation going on. Got a gentleman, whose son was allegedly killed by the police department.
Yeah,
and,
I heard about this story.
And he allegedly, found a cop who unalived his son and drove over him. And so now he's in court. Police are what they're categorizing as trying to intimidate him by showing up in court 30, 40 strong, staring him down, almost already showing him as guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're definitely trying to sway the public, which is nasty work. Not gonna lie, they're definitely trying to frame him as a disturbance to the peace.
Yeah, and I'll say this, I'm a spiritual man. I believe in the Bible and what it says, but everybody ain't cut from that cloth. So when somebody unalive somebody's close to you as your son in an unrighteous manner, what they feel is not unjustifiable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's what that movie used to be, or that thing Snapped. Used to come on. Snap would come on and it said, she just snapped. He just snapped. And I believe there's a point in your mind where you can get to the point where you just become unhinged and you just want, but they're trying to, they talk about vigilanteism and things of that nature. That doesn't make it right. But if you're not in your right mind, if you're not in your right state of mind, and this is not your persona, how you were prior to that, I think those things need to be taken into consideration. What about you, nephew? Pardon me, y'all.
This is where I'm at with it. Because just like how you said, I can definitely understand somebody for a brief time, especially if you feel like it's unjustified, to just tweak out. You know what I mean? And especially if it's on somebody that you're close to, from how it's presented. Because I don't know all of the backstory.
Yeah.
But from how it's presented, he was very, very close with his son. And his son, he believes, was put in a situation and was treated a way where it wasn't really need for that excessiveness.
Yeah.
You could have easily just stopped him and he's still been living today.
Yeah,
And I think his main thing was that you took my son, a young man, away from me before his life even started.
And if I read the story correctly, it wasn't like he set out to find you. The way the story read that I seen, he happened to see you the next day. It ain't like he sought you out. It's like he happened to see you and that clicked this spasm. It's like you see something that reminds you of something and you just spaz out. And he just happened to spaz out being in a car that ended up being utilized as a deadly weapon. Yeah. And I don't really think he ever denied it. I think his mental state is, and guess what? He kind of looks in his face like, I'll do it again. His face kind of look like, I'll do it again.
But to that point, like, it's usually said in like backroom talk. You feel, especially when you with us and your folks, they're like, man, something happened to you. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Literally, he's literally the person that simplified that for everybody.
Yeah,
it was like,
poster child for it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. You was in the wrong place at the right time.
Yeah, and I just think it's sad that anybody has to lose their life. But I've been reading things on the internet. It's like at some time, they always want to say it's not a black and white thing, it's not an issue, but it's always happens to portray itself that because it's always on the bad receiving end, seemingly so, a black individual. And it's like one of the things I read was saying, how long are we going to continue to allow this to happen in our communities? How long are we going to end, always back down or bow down? How long are we going to just continue to have, unrighteous things happening to us without anyone standing up or take? And I don't even think that he took that position purposely to say that, but things happen sometimes where what you do brings other things to light. So I just think that it shines a light on why is it always in our community? Why is it the Rodney Kings and the, people of that nature? I looked at several interviews where it said you can see a black man with a gun in a holster and they see the gun and he's unalive. But then you see somebody on another video of another persuasion point a gun at a cop in his car and he get arrested. He still lives. Or better yet, we take him to Burger King. How about that? We all remember when that happened, right?
I do.
So understand where people's mindset are Does it make it right? Not at all. But in the sensibility of things, in the thick of things, you kind of like the Jesus person. What would Jesus do? But take Jesus out of it. A person who just an everyday person who doesn't have that guidance, what would you do? How would you feel if you had the ability to pursue the person who unalives somebody that close to you? You know what I'm saying? If you're not constrained by your spiritual convictions, if you're not, understanding what forgiveness is about, if you are a believer of eye for an eye, right? Vindicating or vindictive, you gonna make something happen.
This is my thing with that though. I think there's a lot of folks that do move spiritually. I think that's a level of spiritual strength and growth that even most folks that you would claim spiritually I don't think they have that capacity. I think it's still come down to the natural, even though you kind of don't want it to be. If you want to keep it in the spiritual mindset, what would Jesus do? Jesus ain't us. And if you're going by with things, and it's even through the Bible, you can go through a whole bunch of examples of somebody that did place retaliation. Now, again, you reap what you sow, so that come back to you. But even them, if I'm not mistaken, folks like a David, folks like a Paul had to switch it up.
Yeah, he was
Paul had to switch it up.
He was walking with Jesus himself. He was like, "Hold on, boy, wait a minute. Get me behind me, saying, because you on some other stuff."
Yeah,
so, I mean, I get it, and we don't want to make light of it, but in the same tune, it's like, bruh, what do y'all want this man to do? What would you y'all say that, but y'all legally care. How would you have handled somebody? You actually have permission to have a gun and have cuffs, and if somebody had done that to your son, how would you have acted? What would have been and so I think people are very easily removed from situations when it's not them. They're very quick to judge and say things about you and to you because it's not them. But if you put them in the same situation, sometimes you get that or worse from them. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes they crash out towards others who had nothing to do with it.
And you know what else? I think from what's seen in the media a lot, especially when it comes to us and the cops, regardless on if they a black cop or a white cop, you're usually seeing them get off. You're usually seeing them get away without or with little repercussion. They're just taken away for a vacation that they usually get paid under the table for, even though they probably say they unpaid. You feel me? And is used to appease the public, but is really no justice for the public. And then when you even get close to getting justice for whatever victim it is from police with us, either they get off or is not looked as a proper ruling, proper just way
even
of doing
or even where it's not as severe.
Yeah,
the punishment it doesn't match the crime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
or it's a lesser sentence or some of that nature. So I get that, and we're gonna leave that one right there because that'll take an hour by itself.
Oh yeah,
because it's a mindset that really needs to be dealt with, because that's what it is. It's a particular mindset that it takes a particular skill to understand, right? And that's what people understand, that these are learned behaviors. And learned behaviors are only dealt with by other learned behaviors to combat that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that you have to understand and learn about, that you will be learning about here on the Heavy Talk Podcast and more episodes to come. But let's talk about on our music side, Mr. Tory Lanez. I heard Mr. Tory Lanez found himself getting kind of plucked up in the jailhouse. You know what I'm saying?
So I think he got it 14 different times.
Yeah, I think they got. Well, the only thing I can think is that I didn't see the shank, but it must have been somewhat of an ice pick or a short shank, because he's still breathing.
Yeah. You
get planagled 14 times, and still here. It was a flesh catcher. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Something short, something not long. They got different names for weaponry in the penitentiary.
Mhm.
So it was probably something like a pen knife or something of that nature, to where they just wanted to let you know, we here. Hello, hey buddy.
Go ahead, hold that real quick,
Yeah,
big
go
dog.
ahead, go ahead on to the infirmary and get you, bandaged up. But just know the next time it may not be. And we're glad that he's still alive. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants anybody to be unalive, but we have to also remember, man, there are just repercussions and things for some of our actions that we do. And sometimes we think things be over, but those folks have folks who have folks, especially when you move on that side of the world.
So do you think, where do you land on that situation with Tory Lanez and Meg?
I mean, I wasn't there. I think he did it. I mean, the bullet came out of a gun somewhere. I do think he did it. But I think the thing that happened in jail, excuse me, I think the thing that happened in jail pretty much, I don't think it has anything to really do with that side of it. Because I think he's been in jail for a minute. So it's very easily that he could have gained some beef, some sort of penitentiary type thing that go on.
Now, he was posted up a few days before this incident came out. I think it was like 4 days before the incident. He was posted up taking pictures with folks, saying how many times he had to go fight folks.
Yeah, and I think sometimes
he did his little recording when he was doing a verse. They went into a ride on that.
Yeah, and so I think what happens is a lot of time when you're on the outside world, you this person, and when you get inside, sometimes you're that person, and you have people who will protect you or stay around you, or you may have to pay for certain protection. But my first visit to jail was I worked as a deputy, and there are some people in there who don't care who you is, who your people is, or how much money. Matter of fact, because of who you are, they'll try to build a reputation of dealing with you. I remember when I was a deputy, there was this hood famous rapper. He came in. I ain't gonna say his name without permission right now, but if you lived in New Orleans for any time in the late 80s, early 90s, he had one of the most popular songs out, right? And so when I was in there, because it was 1988, I'm telling my age now, it's like 88, 89, and one of my first jobs was a deputy at the Orleans Parish prison, right? And so he came on the floor, and brown skin, medium build, you know what I'm saying? But he had Indian coarse hair. So it's stringy, but when you pull it back, it's kind of wavy. So, and so when he came in on the chair, dude was like, who that is, And I was like, okay, this is not gonna fare out too well. When people start putting their eye on you as if you are a female in a full male dormitory,
you was afraid.
Somebody's about to do something they ain't got no business. So, I'm sitting in what they call the catwalk or the walkway, watching the entire unit. So the thing about jail is, if something happens and you yell out for the CO to come help you, you really gonna have a problem, because you didn't call for the free folk or for the man to come help you. So generally, it's like you either wait till it's over and go break it up, because you don't want to put them in more danger, or you wait for them to call for you.
Oh, wow.
And then you have to go, right? Y'all excuse me on this little bronchitis, but it's going to get better during the podcast. Here we go. But so I'm sitting there, and the way that the cell is what they call the day room, which is the room where everybody meets to watch TV or whatever. And we talking 88, 89. So TVs at this time are not hung up. They're sitting on the top of like a table.
Got the big bags.
Yeah. Well, it ain't, but it's bigger bags, not thin, whatever. It's not hung up. So I'm sitting there, and all I remember is dude coming from the back, because the dorm's in the back. You got to walk to the day room. So dude come from the back, and all I could just see him was just smack dude on the button, grab a handful of his behind. And it was like, smack, ooh, and grabbed him, right? So dude just like turned around, but he ain't say nothing. So I'm doing what CO do. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, bro, just call me. I'll step in, but I don't want to step in to save you, because somewhere down the rest of the night, if you don't legitimately square this up, it's gonna be a bad night for you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like sitting there wondering what's going on. So as I sit and I'm looking, everybody else in the place kind of looking. So he kind of dip all back into the cell area, which you usually know. Somebody dip off into their cell area, they either going to strap up to put their shoes on, or they're going for their homemade weaponry of whatever's in their cell, right? So either way, I'm like, okay, either you're going to put them tennis shoes on or whatever. So he slipped to the back. He come back from back, go in the day room. He come back to the TV. But when he stepped back to the TV, it all happened so fast, right? He stepped back to, I'm thinking about to turn the TV. He just picked the TV up and, bah! Bless old dude with the TV. You know what I'm saying? What? And, dude leaking from the head. I grabbed the phone, called for backup.
Man.
Dude just standing over him. He didn't put up no fight. Put a hand behind his back.
You had a TV on your head.
I'm talking about the dude who hit him. He didn't put up no fight with the deputies. He just got in his, and put him in cut, took him to the hole. So it was like, he had to do something, because he don't, listen, man, you don't respond, you gonna get it. And if you respond, you rather go to the hole than to deal with all them, because this was a test. When this one dude, somebody brought from the back and put him up on this to go see where you at, where your mind at. It's sad, but it's true. So back to Tory Lane, you never know what the deal was. You know what I'm saying?
You just
you just never know who set what up and how the play was.
Yeah, and he probably had to be an example.
Could have been an example. He could have got smart at the mouth. He could have been flaunting his money and his way and thinking that, prison life is like street life. You can talk reckless on the street and sometimes survive to live another day. You dig?
Because they got to still find you.
Yeah, they got to go find you. They got to leave. You got security, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But in that place, when they tell you it's a different mentality, it's a different place, it's a world of its own, believe them when they tell you. Well, I always want to be free. I went there for 3 days in my life, and those were the worst 3 days of my life. Because that night I woke up and realized I ain't have no refrigerator. I couldn't go get nothing to eat or drink like I wanted to. And the only way I could go to the cell was for somebody to let me out. You never had to worry about me going back cap.
I feel you on that.
Yes,
Shoot.
sir.
I am an outside man.
That's right. Hey, man, so we ain't going to take another break for you now. Understand. Small plug. This is brought to you by Big Daddy Bomb barbecue flavored cooking sauce and Big Daddy Shake and Rub. Show your food some love. You can obtain it at www.bigdaddybomb.com. Also, remember, Heavy Talk the podcast on YouTube. Heavy Talk the podcast on YouTube. Go like us. Go subscribe to us. We're going to have many conversations, so much more to share with you on these episodes coming up. Remember, we're going to stream live every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. We want you to join. We want you to be part of the fan base. If you're not part of our cooking fan base, which is Bomb Leavers on Facebook, you got to believe in the bomb. Bomb Leavers on Facebook, go join the fan page, man. We got a lot going on over there. Or you can catch me at Big Daddy Sauces LLC on Facebook. We got many platforms, but right now, please, ma'am, please, sir, Heavy Talk, the podcast, YouTube. Go like it. Go subscribe to it. Yeah, nephew, what we got to talk about now? Transition.
Let's see now. Want to go to the sports world?
Let's go to the sports
All right,
world.
man. We was talking about this a little bit before pre-show. The playoffs. Playoffs, man. How you been feeling about the playoffs?
Playing in the playoffs. That's what I feel to believe. They are playing. You know, Warriors come out and play. You know, I'm feeling some kind of way, man. I'm a huge Golden State fan.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a huge Golden State fan, but you know, nobody can put all their marbles in one place. And I think that this year proves that they would lean just a little bit too much on Steph. With him being out, you know, series, I think they're down 3-1 now.
Yeah, they is.
And they need those 30 from Steph. I mean, you know, Steph's gonna give you, let's say on his bad night, he give you 18. You know,
that's a real bad night because I'm
just saying
getting 18.
I'm going for the low polar. You still can use those 18.
Yeah.
So without him and his 18, you know, and you have Draymond who wants to step up, but you know, Draymond is just Draymond. He's that guy who is there to intimidate, not facilitate. You dig? So now he's trying to run the floor. He got hot. He hit 2 3s last night, and then he went to the top of the refrigerator called the freezer, and you know, I think he went like 5 for 14 or something like that from 3-point line. The night before he fouled out regular Draymond, not considering his teammates, just doing what he wants to do. You can't be utilized on a bench. You can't just keep running like your emotional roller coaster and getting flagrants and getting fouled and fouled out of game. You want to help your team, I think you got to be on the floor.
The unfortunate part about that, Draymond Green been doing it. You feel me? And that's it. What do you say to a dude where that was mainly his whole identity when y'all was successful, for when y'all not to be successful, to say, hey, stop doing what you've been doing that helped us.
But in their defense, they had more people to lean on. Because you're talking about when Draymond was being the bad boy of the Golden State Warriors, right? When he was doing his bad boy thing, you had Klay Thompson, you had
KD.
Yeah. You had other people out there to assist them. But now it's just Draymond, Steph left from the original crew, you see what I'm saying? And they got some people to help him, but those guys still haven't developed to the best of their ability for that end. You know what I'm saying? I still think they need another year working together.
This is where I'll go with Golden State before we move on with another team. They're 2 years removed from the championship that honestly I don't think too many folks believe too much they was gonna really make. Then you have a Draymond that is your heart of your team, Curry the soul of the team. So when the soul gone and you got too much heart, now you got him being too emotional. Yeah, because he usually the battery pack that got your Kaminga getting hard pressed over there, or when he was there at the time before he went to another team, Godly. He was from the Timberwolves. Wiggins.
Yeah.
He was the battery pack to Wiggins, even to a point this year, him and Jimmy, which folks thought was gonna clash, they was actually really close. So it was like,
speaking of Jimmy missing in action, man. I watched Jimmy the last 3 games, and Jimmy Butler,
he fell on his butt.
Jimmy Butler getting to the rack and can't make a layup.
I think that's still lingering. I think that's still lingering in injury issue because
not knowing where
that ain't Jimmy.
Not knowing where the glass at, not knowing where to hit the ball on the glass to make it go in. That's an injury.
Yeah, because I don't think he was supposed to have been back. It's the way he came down. He really rushed himself back. I don't think he should have been back.
What he doing? He could stay on the bench. I'm talking about when you blowing layups. Come on now. You talking about that's just like now. That's just me. I have issue with a professional basketball player who can't make a free throw.
Now, who else you would have put in besides Jimmy?
I don't know. Somebody who
See that?
Who would've
If
tried.
you can't answer that question, I mean, it ain't that
but the
bad.
bench got 7 other people.
But I'm saying, who would you place in instead of Jimmy?
The 7th man.
For those.
The 7th man. Whoever's 7th on the roster.
That's crazy.
I mean, he got on the pro team for a reason. I'm sure he can make a layup. I'm
No.
sure doing tryouts. The 7th man was good for layup. If Jim heard he can't make a layup, hey, call number 7 off the bench down there. 7, I don't even know your name. 7, come on. Coach might not even know his name for real. Just call him 7.
Oh my
7,
God.
come on in. I mean, it just is what it is. But how about them Knickerbockers, huh?
How about them, man?
Yeah, they doing.
How about them? Wait, before we go on, real quick, so we can get those out the way. How did you feel about the first rounds matchups with any of the games with the first round?
The Lakers lost. I felt wonderful.
Yo, oh my goodness!
I felt,
man, Big
I
Daddy.
felt.
I usually don't find nobody that hates the same
like
things
jubilant. Was her like jubilant?
Man,
I didn't even care nothing about the rest of the playoffs. Like for real, long as I don't have to hear those two names.
Boston and the Lakers.
Those two, no. LeBron and
the Lakers
and the boy they got from
Bronny
Dallas.
James.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Them two names. If I ain't got to hear them two names for the rest of the playoffs, I was Gucci. I mean, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail for this, but guess what? Don't care.
No,
I'd rather the Clippers.
I ain't mad. I ain't mad at LeBron. I get the discourse off on him, but as far as with the Lakers, I ain't like him when he was there. I ain't like him when Kobe was there. I just don't like the Lakers.
The organization I never liked. I've liked players off of there.
Players is cool.
That's why I like
a player off.
But you not tell my age because I'm there since Magic. I went to high school in LA. So
oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? I graduated from high school in 1987.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so
you ain't gonna rush past that.
What you know about?
Wait a minute. You was in LA and you wasn't a Laker fan?
Oh, not at all. But I wasn't a huge, truth be told, in high school, I wasn't a big basketball follower.
Okay.
So in high school,
okay,
I was a Dodgers fan. I was a baseball kid. I played baseball in high school till I got hurt. And so I was a baseball fanatic. So I'm Dodgers, Ron Say, all those guys back on the Dodgers.
Back in the 80s, was
the
either
Dodgers
you was basketball or baseball.
Yeah, I was doing Dodgers. Well, back in the 80s, it was the LA Raiders. You was a bad boy. You had to be a football bad boy, because it's LA Raiders. Raiders all day, baby. That's your football team. You know what I'm saying? So mine was back in the day. It was I've never been, but I was in love with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay.
Baseball. I love the Dodgers.
Okay.
That was my baseball team. And then when it came to football,
you was happy a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. And then for football, it was the Pittsburgh Steelers, San Francisco 49ers, and of course, I'm always going to forever be a Saints fan because I'm locked into So I was a Saints fan when they were wearing bags on their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Saints, before we get out of the sports segment, 2 things with the Saints. Somebody find me Mr. Loomis and get rid of him. First of all, this man has the ability to mess up a team without even thinking about it. Like, I don't know what Loomis has on the Benson family, but this dude has messed the general manager for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
He has just totally tore his team up. Every time we get close to having a playoff or a Super Bowl team, he tears it up. But shouts out to my folks in New Orleans. Derek Carr retired this week.
He did.
And New Orleans threw a second line for Derek Carr. They threw a parade. Glad to see you go, buddy. Turn up, throw up, high five, get you going. It's going to cost us about $30 million, though. Cost us $30 million to get rid of him. But he was willing to go and we was willing to pay. But we had an opportunity to get Shador, and we didn't. And so we got
that would have been the perfect setup.
We got a 26-year-old quarterback that doesn't have a highlight reel. This boy was in college longer than a teacher. And, you know, yeah, 26 years old. And, you know, the highlight reel.
You're probably going to get hurt during summer.
Listen, nephew, this boy don't have a highlight reel. Like, if you Google him, you can't find a highlight reel on this young man in college.
You can't get a college mixtape or nothing.
He's not even on Madden 06. Like, I'm just saying. It's crazy. So we glad to see Carr go. We don't know what's gonna happen with the new guy, but he can't be no worse. It is.
if that ain't just empty face.
He can't be he cannot be any worse. Hey man, go look at Derek Carr's stats since he been at the same. Listen, man, I'm telling you, like, whew, it give me chills to talk about it. But anyway, so that's good news on that side. Back to basketball. All right. So what you think about these Celtics who have blown 2 games, being 20 points up, and showed their true colors last night, and kind of came back. And we ain't gonna just skip over Cleveland getting mollywopped by Indy the other night.
I
say, man, when a team go up by 40, there's got to be a mercy rule. Like the ref could just say,
bruh,
hey, we're gonna, you know how they come on the monitor? Take the time clock, put it to 0, game over. Like, I was just expecting the ref to walk to the monitor and be like, because they're beating them so bad, we're gonna go ahead and put the time clock to 10 seconds and let it wind down. And let them live to fight another night. 3rd quarter, 4th quarter cancel. So yeah, I'm just,
this is what I'll say. My highlight of the last round was the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. The highlight of my second round is the Celtics and the Knicks. As much as I do not like the Celtics with the passion, man, after last night, I have no idea where. I think it'll go 7.
I'm definitely believing that. I'm definitely believing that.
Because
I'm definitely believing 7.
If you don't know, if you was watching the games, Jason Tatum got hurt.
Yeah, it was gonna make a big difference.
Achilles.
That's what they finally came out?
Yeah, that's what it came out to, is an Achilles injury. So how I'm processing it now, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well,
I love me some Jaylen Brown, but
now let me tell you now, if he's out, because that means that he's out.
Yes.
That means he's out. That changed the game. With him in, I seen it going 7. With him being out, I don't see them pulling off the next game. They don't have enough time to.
I don't either.
They don't have enough time to redirect and reinstitute all the things that they had in play around him. Because if it wasn't 3-1, because I think it's 3-1 now, right? So they don't have.
No, it's all tied up now.
So what it is? 2-2?
If I'm not mistaken,
I think it's 3-1.
It's 3. Hold on, let me
check and see. Because if it's 3-1, they don't have that one game that they would need to play around each other.
Yeah, 3-1. My bad.
That's what I'm saying. So they don't have that ability to have a game to mess around to find out how they work together and then come back and win the next one. The next one they lose is over with for them. And I just don't think they have enough time to change the scheme.
I think, but this is me thinking real, real high of Jaylen Brown, the reason why I go to 7. The Knicks as a team are exploitable. Very exploitable. They play defense on one side. They don't really go out to the perimeter too much, because that's where a lot of folks be exploiting Cat. Cat is staying in the inside. He don't want to do that run out to old buddy. And you saw that when either Porzingis was spot up or even Al Horford when he was spot up. Now, if you're going by the last few games from Al Horford, he was bricking everything until he went unconscious for the right type of shots in the game they did win.
But think about this though, just like we just talked about Steph. No matter what they do, Boston needs those numbers from Tatum. They need those numbers because what he's putting up before he got hurt. What he's put up 28, 30 a game. So you talking about numbers now. You can't.
I think he was doing 22,
but you can't just dismiss him.
No. You can't dismiss him, but his effect. Jason Tatum didn't score those baskets like that was transitional throughout the game. Yeah. And throughout the game, he was making good timely shots, but he wasn't the impact because I think their plus and minus was low with him on the floor.
But check this out though, but they still at the end of the day, who just like you had me about Steph and Golden State Warriors and with Jimmy Butler, who they gonna put on the floor to replace him? Who else? Who coming off the bench to give him 22?
I think that, and that's where I was like with Jaylen Brown. I think it would take more of an effort from Jaylen Brown, and they have another slot because all Jaylen Brown would do is move to the power forward, and they'll be putting a Drew Holiday in a Jason Tatum spot. And Drew Holiday will make up for the points that he won't be scoring, and he shoots a real good spot up in the corner. So now you have a 3 threat, and you have a legitimate lockdown for either the small forward or the shooting guard, which honestly, outside of Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, outside of him, honestly, you need to be asking that question for the Knicks.
But true, if he got hurt, but he ain't hurt, and he on fire. So
yeah. So, I'm just saying that boy dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. That boy
he's in them streets. So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. And since we transition, because we spent a little time on our sports today, which is cool. What are we gonna do about the NFL playing in our face? Because you can't leave it not to be talked about. Shedeur Sanders was done wrong across the board. When it is, we're not just gonna say, we can't say because he was black. More like it's blackballed, and you know what I'm saying, set aside. But he said something in an interview, and the thing is, his stats. If you take him out of the picture, take his name out of the picture, right, and put his stats up against any stats of people who were drafted in higher positions than him, just on paper, right? Mm-hmm. Do you draft him? If you don't know his dad is Deion and you got a problem with Deion, or you don't like how Deion coaches,
if you didn't know he was the Sanders.
Yeah. Just paper. Just legitimate, statistical. I got this guy that does this, and this. He performed at the combine, this, and this. And he took his team to this many wins. He threw this many touchdowns, this many interceptions. Statistically, does he get drafted in a high position? And the answer is yes.
I disagree.
You think?
This is where I go with it. One, he didn't perform at the combine, which played a big part against him. And then he did appear in the interviews. A lot of the execs that was interested in him said that he couldn't tell you any of the plays. Then you add that with his college mixtape. I'm with you if you're just going off of college. He was a 4,000-yard passer, led in QBR, and if I'm not mistaken, he was in the top bracket for quarterbacks with touchdowns for that year. And you saw the transition from Colorado from a 2-win team to a 4-2-9. And if you're looking at the transition that he has on the team, because when they came in, they was already touted, they was going to at least be a 5-win team, and they ain't even cracked 4. You feel me? And then the next year, you only cracked 4 when we thought you would have been improving more. And I think a lot of folks will hold that against him past his own highlight tape. Like I said, if we going off of his own highlight tape in college, I'm with you 100%. But when you talk to the execs and you can't tell them what you did as far as X's and O's, in college,
But
then they're going to look at that like that was more of a play calling thing than it was that you changed the game.
But I purposely think that since we don't have privy,
we don't
to those conversations, I could tell you one thing, but if you don't want to go back to go tell the story, to cover your behind because you know what you're going to do next, which is you have no plan. It's like a person interviewing you and they know they don't have no plans on hiring you, but they boss like you, so they go to the boss and say, I know you like this candidate, boss, but when I interviewed them, if you don't get to sit in.
You think they went and purposely found red flags?
Yeah, and even created some to cover their own self. Or we didn't get him because when we sat in the interview, he couldn't talk football to us. He couldn't tell us X and O's. But come on, now when you think about it, can you really not tell X and O's when you have to? Now it may not be your X and O's, but you call them players, you got to know where to find them. You got to know where your people going to be. I think he has a better football intellect and understanding most people want to give him.
By far on the whole table, he has the best intangibles.
Okay, let's take one more before we get off of it. Let's not go with the NFL draft. Remember during the season, he was up for a trophy, the quarterback trophy that he was up for, and they were talking about not giving it to him when he had the outright stats and everything to win the trophy. Why was that a problem to give it to him? Why didn't they? And that's where it all started. That's where the plot thickened, right? And when they were going to take and they were going to start boycotting or saying, if you don't give him this trophy when he deserves this trophy, when everything says he's supposed to win this, why wouldn't you let him win it? Why don't you want to win it? And nobody had a real specific answer. Because because he met all of the qualifications to win it. He had surpassed it. And whoever they were going to give it to had met him. So that's my problem I had with them and them not doing what they need to do for him. Because if you put it on paper, I'll tell you, I went to the doctor one day, right? And the doctor told me, he said, reading your chart, I would think you're on disability or at home laying down somewhere. But he got a chance to meet me. And so I'm just saying, when you look at something and not meet a person, it can go either way. It can go bad, it can go good. But if you just put it on paper and read it for what the paper says, I still think he would have went higher in the draft. I ain't saying he had to go number one or number two, but I think there was enough teams out there that needed quarterbacks to where he shouldn't have went in a round that he did.
So if you had to place him in a round that wasn't the early first round, where would you place him? Who do you think?
Definitely second round. Easy.
Second round? Second round.
Easy second round. If you find a reason to keep him out of the first round, easy second round. I'm gonna tell you another thing some people don't understand. The Lord around the Lord of money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are upset because this kid coming out of college with money.
Yeah.
The money ain't what he chasing. And so it's also to them, it's like, since you got it, we ain't got to give it to you. And we're going to make you, if we're going to pay it to you, we're going to make you earn it. So we draft you at this lower draft pay, because if you keep at the pace you are, someday you're going to be a star. But we're going to get these first few years out of you at the lowest grade of pay also.
I think where they place him, they don't think he's going to be a star.
They don't think he is, but I think it's going to give him the fortitude to want to prove him wrong now. So I think personally, they don't think he is, but I think personally it's going to make him even better because he's going to dog it out, right? But the other thing I don't really want to happen is in the position they're going to put him, in order for him to get a chance to prove himself, somebody's going to have to get hurt. So he can
that's definitely what's going to have to happen.
He's going to have to come into a game, but somebody got hurt or knocked out a game. And that kind of part I don't want to see happen to anybody. But just think about the great stories of football comebacks and people who end up being starting quarterbacks. It was always because the starting quarterback went out and they finally got the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
This is where I'm at on that. I unfortunately, I think that's where it's going to be. Now I think he has the makeup to earn his way to at least a second string. But this is where I'm at with that. If you're going by the good comeback stories from folks that went in similar rounds, like Tom Brady or like a Jalen Hurts, two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks right now,
Yeah,
and MVPs. Well, no, I think Saquon got the MVP, but still, Super Bowl quarterbacks. The thing about them that is distinctly different from Shadur Sanders had always played on the upkeep. He was always already touted as the leader and the starter. For a Jalen Hurts, for a Tom Brady, they were always, for Jalen Hurts, it's like, dude, you should have been a running back. Why are you playing quarterback here? And we only have you as quarterback here because we haven't found Tua yet over here at Alabama. And when you left over, even though you went to a quarterback coach, they still said, bro, you better when you run. Yeah, you got better numbers from when you quarterbacked at Alabama, but you wasn't leading quarterbacking in the league in the college. And then with Tom Brady, bro, you was third string. They had to get hurt to put you in. And then when you went, we was like, all righty, we got enough because you was a fifth-year senior. But at this point, we don't know where to put you outside of a backup. Just sit here until it's time for us to go. It had to be the perfect situations for them. And they were used to proving people wrong to where you saw the makeup that they had. Now, all three of them, I do believe, have that dog in them.
Yeah.
To where when it's time to win and it's time to get clutch, I can get clutch. But in order to flex that I can get clutch, I have to be given the proper opportunity.
And what I think he do is he needs to talk to people who will keep him in a mindset of understanding that just do what you need to do until your time comes. I mean, you take a Teddy Bridgewater, for example.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know what
I
I'm
ain't
saying?
think about that. Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater sat on that bench for forever. You know what I'm saying? And there was no way he was going to ever play in front of Drew Brees. Ever.
At all.
But watch this. He come in for Drew Brees and he wins 6 games in a row while Drew's out hurt. Not true to the fact that Drew came back. And when he started the game that he came back from injury, the whole dome was cheering for Teddy to start. Drew didn't like that. That's why Teddy ended up being traded yet again. So me and Drew Brees got to have an issue because to me, he's the football equivalent of LeBron. He cries.
Drew Brees?
I'm saying when he cries, he just has to have his way. Like he's babyfied. You know what I'm saying? So he's like,
Now he gave the Saints the whole chip.
Yeah, I'm just saying
that hurricane.
Like, now, he just got to be like, if you got him there and don't get him, he's got to go. If Drew say you had to go, you had to go.
No.
So I'm just saying, with that being the only thing I really couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Take about him as a player, loved him as a player. Did he bring us places? Yeah. And we're going to have to find somebody else to bring us there, of course. But back again, that Mickey Lomas. Look at me, Mickey. I know you may not be watching this podcast, but buddy, your days are numbered in that front office. All right. So where are we going from here, nephew? Well, thank y'all for tuning into the podcast. I'm telling you, it's going to be some hot topics coming up. Many more. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. But go to our YouTube, What You Cooking Big Daddy. Please like, share, and subscribe. Where we going, nephew?
We got 2 more stores. I'm gonna ask you, you want to go to Smokey or you want to go to Shannon? you want Smokey or you want Shannon?
Smokey.
Yeah, we can go ahead and mention the Smokey Robinson thing that led up to Mother's Day.
Oh wow,
crazy Mother's Day gift.
I mean, you know what though? I'm really breathe. And here's the deal. Nobody deserves to be taken advantage of, period. Let's get that out the way.
Period. I'm with you on that.
But you have to ask yourself, why now?
Okay.
That's the question I always have, is the why now? First of all, Smokey, like 3 years from old as dust, right? And
He said 3 years from over the dust.
yeah, I'm just holding it. It's like, But you go and you say, why now? You say these years of situations, years of being able to, being scared. I know at one point I'm thinking somebody wouldn't believe you, but I need to know what makes you at a point go against all the things that held you back all these years. That would be my thing with him. If he done it, no matter what your name is, who you are, what your title is, how famous you are, you deserve everything that's coming for you.
Big facts.
But it's just, I'm never one to jump out on the, oh yeah, they're guilty train. I was even hoping Kels wouldn't get what he got till he pulled the Shaggy. Wasn't me. That was my twin brother.
Then you started singing about
whatever y'all was gonna give him, give him double. That's asinine. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but with the smoking thing, man, what y'all gonna do with him? Then so he's gonna let him pay his way out. You're gonna send him to jail till he died. He gonna go hold concerts in the pen. I mean,
it's got to be another 10 years, if that.
Yeah, so it's like, and I think with him and his wife been together for 2 years from forever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and they saying she was down with it.
And I was like she was setting them out.
Yeah,
like
it's like, oh, you coming? All right, do your thing.
Girl, go ahead.
Get out my face.
Smoking need a towel. Okay, so it's sad, man, because people like that are, for a lack of better term, man, you're talking iconic. You're talking about folks who are legends and icons, but they don't get a pass for that.
No,
they don't get a pass for that. It saddens you when you find out allegedly that there's somebody, but and that's why I tell people a lot of times, just be very hopeful, but never say never. Because you don't know what people are capable of, and you know what I'm saying? And then there's a lot of things that went on when you go to talk about the casting couch, you go to talk about Quincy Jones, you go to talk about P. Diddy, all these alleged things, but there's always, even when people talk about Illuminati, selling your soul, it may not be a realistic going to the devil selling your soul, but there's an actual situation where people give up the things that they believe in for the price of fame. Just like, you have, if you look at some rappers or singers, a lot of singers who are great, phenomenal singers, because of the fame and because of the money, they started in a place called church and left the church because of the money. Left because they didn't think they would make enough money, so they went to the secular world, right? And that's a form of soul selling, because you're going against what you totally believe or your upbringing was for the sake of making more money, right? And then you take rappers who never seen dope, never really knew what a gun was, and because that's the popularity, that's the thing that's hot right now, right? They make up. They make up things about murder and dope and stuff that they've looked up to catch words and phrases like they're really about their life. And then you meet their mom's a teacher, and and their dad's a janitor, and they were good kids in school and never really was about their life. That's a form of selling your soul. Because anytime you are somebody on one place and on a total different aspect on another place for monetary gain, that's a selling of something, I would think.
I'm with you.
Especially when it's for monetary or for gain that you feel that you wouldn't have gained if you didn't change who you were. I'll give you, for instance, I've had numerous invitations to be a host at a nightclub, to do secular DJing, to even do, because when I first came into the industry, I used to host at nightclubs and I did comedy. Not saying other people are not this. First of all, I'm just talking about me.
Yeah.
My convictions won't let me do it. And for me to do it just for the sake of money, I feel like I'm selling out who I am for money, right? Am I good at it? Was I good at it? Yeah. Could I still pull up a whole lot of cuss words for people to laugh at? Yeah. But I choose not to because I chose another route. And if I go back to that route for money, I would feel like I sold out. That's where I'm at with that conversation. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. About people selling their souls or giving up their beliefs for the sake of making more money. And to some, it's okay for them. But for me, it wouldn't be. I'd rather have the little that I have than have a lot, but not feel good with myself when I go home at night.
This is where I'm at with it. Because I agree with you on the selling point. I don't really got too much to go back and forth with that one. And any means, and I don't care how you slice it. If you already believe one thing and you compromise that for another benefit somewhere else, you sold it.
At least you traded it. Yeah, if not sold it, you bargained up, you traded up for, you know what I'm saying? It's like a stock. You didn't sell it, but you traded it.
Mm-hmm. Buy one, get one.
Yeah. Yeah, take this thing. We'll take that for that. You know, so even if you trade, it's still, you know, and what I have that a lot of people don't know is I have a real deep inline on the younger industry. I haven't been in the industry, the music industry, in quite a while. But I stay in tune and I stay in touch. And I know a lot of people in the industry, right? And I can tell you people and names of people who don't sleep well at night, got plenty of money, but who drink a lot. Got plenty of money, but smoke a lot, snort a lot, to bring peace to themselves because they know what it took for them to get there. They know what they had to give up to get there. They know who they crossed to get there. They know the things that they've been doing to reach the pinnacle places, that they know the losses they've taken in order to get there. Mm-hmm. I personally don't believe in a organized Illuminati, but I believe that there's a consistent drag of bad things that happen to people when they switch up or they give themselves to an industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain losses and things that challenge them to keep them in that position, right? Or to remind them, like people who go to jail, right? Okay, I'll give you the song, that Snoop song. That puts a cherry on top. So remember when Snoop was saying about murder was a case that he gave me?
Yeah.
And he was like, the guy came to him at night and said, if you do this, I'll make you rich. And if you do that, and give all the lyrics of Murder Was a Case. That's the perfect example of how things come to people in their sleep or things in their mind, right? That they're willing to give up to be in this grand place. And although that was a song, think about Snoop's life after he had that murder case. How he's to the top. Is he talented? No doubt, right? But he's in places doing things now that you never thought. And one is because he got a great camp, right? But let's be real. Is he really that marketable to be doing the Olympics in Paris?
Yeah, we talked about this.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and he crip walking everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
With the
so there's something somewhere, but I can almost guarantee I wasn't there, but allegedly his connection to Martha has a lot to do with a lot of his Rising and Connections.
Really? You think it went for Martha?
Martha Stewart?
Yeah. When her and him had that little show.
It ain't the show. They both went to jail.
I know that.
I'm telling you that being connected to certain people will put you in certain rooms.
So he
she
linked up with Martha.
Martha speak up for him. Right? If you take somebody like that in your corner, they might have a doubt on you, but just Martha is a perfect case of fell up. She didn't fall down, she fell up.
Mm-hmm.
When she went to jail, when she came back, you wasn't supposed to know of her.
Yeah, she said it was...
Martha's still selling sheets, blankets, and dishes, and more of them. You know what I'm saying? But they had one thing in common too: they both smoke.
Oh yeah, bake up.
You know what I'm saying? So
Martha be cheaping.
So understand they found a common denominator. It's something they like together, and she befriended him, and you never know who she. Come on now, who she in rooms with that kid. I just think the connection, and if you do the timeline, it's all kind of odd. Not speaking down of him, but just to say, I believe in the way some things work. You know what I'm saying? Like some things work that way, and some people knowingly give up some things, or some people take the lick for some tragedies in order to step up and make things work. So how much time we got left today? We've been at it.
Yeah, we've been at it.
But we're gonna I think we need to take it with, how about one local? Let's just talk about it's voting time. It's voting time.
I'm gonna let you on the local then, Big Daddy.
Just I want to say this, so we say it's Heavy Talk, the podcast. Do your homework, people. Don't be tricked by the bells and the whistles. You know, I seen something online and they asked like, when's the only time people start picking up trash and covering potholes? And you can always know it's election season. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you start seeing folks, people saying, do this, do that. I was looking at some bills that came out of legislation this rip, and I start seeing who introduced them. And voila, here it is. Somebody's name you ain't heard in years, but bills are being introduced because now they're running for mayor. So, you know, I need to get my name out there. So what's the better way to get my name out there? You know, I supported this bill. You know, I put this bill through, that bill through the legislation. You know, so my thing to us is don't be tricked and don't fool. And whatever you do, you listen to this podcast, I hope you're a voter. You know, I have a lot of interaction with people who have all types of reasons for not voting, but then they have a whole lot of reasons for being upset for things. But those things could probably make a change if they had a voice and not vote. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. That's just my way of that. You know, you don't have nothing to say. If you didn't take time out to go and at least try to put somebody in the game who you have the same ideas for, who, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you really you can't complain. You can't complain. You can't tell me you upset about something when you didn't even partake in an activity that might have put somebody different in. That makes sense?
No, that makes sense.
Because it's like, why are you upset when you didn't even take out the time that it would have took to maybe put somebody in there who could have done something different? You just let it happen and hope for the best. So me and you really can't have a conversation. You feel me? Like, not when it comes to that, because my first question I'm gonna ask you, well, who you voted for? Or did you not even who you voted for, because that you can keep that secret. That's your personal right. But did you vote? Because if you didn't vote, then you don't have nothing to say. So it's political season, people. I ain't gonna tell nobody who to vote for, but I'm definitely gonna tell you, yeah, if you don't like that's what's going on, you need to go vote for somebody.
I feel you.
Yeah. And do your homework. Just do your because
anybody that you interested in right now?
I live in Bessel. So I ain't got a dog in the fight.
Oh Lord.
You know, so but I will tell you this. I vote in Bessemer. My name on the sideline every time the ballot box is open. That I do. And I like my council guy. And I like the mayor in Bessemer. And I voted for them, both of them. So I'm cool with that. I like the way they're gonna do it. And so I'll tell you this. I don't like the school board down there. And I'm considering running for school board.
Really?
So, yeah. I love the kids.
For Bessemer City?
Yeah. Heavy talk. That's been a real. I've never been a political type guy. I really never got involved in politics. But sometimes, in order to see a real difference, you have to be at the table. Sometimes you got to be at the table where the decisions are being made. You know what I'm saying? Or have an effect to the decisions that are being made. So if I'm not going to be at the table, I'll probably be making enough noise to where the people at the table they'll know I'm there. So I haven't really given it a total I am, but it's a full consideration because I'm looking at the way that they're treating the school board itself, which is supposed to be in place to do the best for the teachers, the citizens, and the students. And they're not caring for any of them at this moment. You know, the state took over the school board investment, so it's an overhaul that's needed. So,
okie dokie.
That's the real heavy talk on this particular. Yeah. So you got something fresh and new.
I feel you.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
So
I ain't got no. I don't know what's going on over there, Pebble.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm about to tap in.
I can tell you what's going on in Bessemer though.
What's up?
Every Friday, it's Fish Fry Friday at a place called Lil Mama's, 1200 Hall Avenue, man.
Oh my goodness!
Listen, hey, look.
I want some of that right now.
I know the cook, man. I'm telling you. Whoa, they got the best fish in town, man. They have whiting, they have sway, they have catfish. You know.
I want some of that right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
They have scrimps and okras and best homemade banana pudding you want to taste and 7-Up pound cake. I'm telling you, after 7 o'clock, it goes down at that place. 1200 Hall Avenue, man. I would recommend it. Stop on by. But the crazy part is only open on Fridays. So from 11 to 11 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's worth the trip. Just saying. I know the guy that cooks over there.
Man. It's been a minute. I'm gonna have to give me a plate this Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give me a plate this Friday.
Listen, man, and I'm telling you, YouTube, go join us. Subscribe. Heavy Talk the Podcast, our page on Facebook. Go find us. And follow me on my Big Daddy fan page, which is Bomb Levers. Go get me. So, other than that, man, I think this has been a great talk, great episode with much, much more to come. Listen, y'all hang around for our interviews. Y'all come see me if you got any suggestions. And remember, we're going to have people from the city, from the streets, from education to judicial to entertainers. They all going to come sit down with us. And don't be alarmed if the background changes in a few weeks, because we got something for you. We might be moving out, but we can sit down and do a little more. Hey, we might need to sit down and eat some weeks. You know what I'm saying? So come join us. It's Heavy Talk the Podcast. Appreciate it.